her. If she can take any word, she might use it, she might spend it somewhere, she could be paid something because she heard something they said that would be very helpful for her, to talk about it or do a film about it or do something about it. I think you can't trust her.
Royal fans are buzzing once again after Angela Levin shared fresh commentary about Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie, and Lilibet, triggering a wave of reactions across social media. Within minutes, clips of the discussion were circulating online. Supporters of the Sussexes accused critics of fueling unnecessary speculation. Others argued that Levin was highlighting questions that continue to generate public interest. Whatever your view, one thing is undeniable. Whenever Archie and Lilibet become part of a royal conversation, the internet pays attention. Because despite years of headlines, Harry and Meghan have chosen to keep much of their children's lives private. That privacy has fueled endless curiosity. Every rare update becomes major news. Every public comment sparks debate. Every opinion from a prominent royal commentator quickly spreads around the world. But here's the question everyone seems to be asking. Why do discussions about Archie and Lilibet continue dominating royal headlines years after Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties? Is it simply because of public curiosity? Or does it reflect the continuing fascination with the Sussex family's relationship with the royal family? In today's video, we'll examine Angela Levin's latest comments, explore how royal fans reacted, and look at why conversations surrounding Archie and Lilibet continue generating worldwide attention. The latest royal discussion erupted after Angela Levin shared fresh commentary about Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Archie, and Lilibet, setting off another wave of debate across social media. Within hours, clips of her remarks began circulating online. Royal YouTube channels released breaking news videos. Comment sections filled with thousands of opinions. Supporters of the Sussexes rushed to defend Harry and Meghan. Critics argued Levin was expressing concerns that have been discussed by royal commentators for years. Before long, the internet had once again divided into two very different camps. The reason the reaction became so intense wasn't difficult to understand. Whenever Archie and Lilibet become part of a public discussion, interest immediately skyrockets. Despite being among the youngest members of the extended royal family, they remain some of the most talked about names in royal news. That's because Harry and Meghan have largely chosen to keep their children out of the public spotlight. As a result, every rare update attracts enormous attention. Every public mention becomes a headline. Every comment from a well-known royal commentator creates another round of online debate. That's exactly what happened this time. Then came the reactions. Supporters of Harry and Meghan argued that discussions involving Archie and Lilibet should respect the family's privacy. They pointed out that the children have largely been kept away from public life and questioned whether constant speculation serves any purpose. Others, however, argued that public interest remains high because the Sussex family continues to be one of the most closely watched royal stories in the world. That disagreement quickly became the center of the conversation. Then another interesting pattern emerged. The discussion wasn't really about one specific comment. It became about something much bigger. The relationship between Harry and the royal family. The future of Archie and Lilibet. The continuing fascination surrounding the Sussex family. According to royal commentators, those broader questions explained why stories like this continue generating millions of views. Then attention shifted toward Angela Levin herself. As one of the most recognizable royal commentators, her observations often generate strong reactions. Some viewers appreciate her perspective. Others strongly disagree with her conclusions. But regardless of opinion, her comments rarely go unnoticed. That's one reason this latest discussion spread so quickly. Then another important reality became clear. Many people weren't actually debating verified new developments. Instead, They were discussing long-running questions about the Sussex family's future, public image, and relationship with the monarchy. Those questions remain unanswered. And according to media analysts, unanswered questions naturally fuel public curiosity. That's why conversations involving Archie and Lilibet continue dominating royal news. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The strongest reactions weren't necessarily about Angela Levin herself. They were about what her comments represented. For supporters, they represented continued scrutiny of Harry and Meghan. For critics, they represented another opportunity to discuss the Sussex family's place within the wider royal story. Either way, the conversation grew larger by the hour. And according to royal observers, that's exactly why discussions involving Archie and Lilibet continue becoming some of the biggest stories on the internet. As Angela Levin's latest comments continued spreading across social media, royal commentators began asking a much bigger question. Why do discussions involving Archie and Lilibet always dominate the headlines? According to media analysts, the answer is surprisingly simple. Very few children connected to the royal family have generated as much worldwide curiosity while remaining almost entirely out of public view. That's what makes their story unique. Unlike other young royals who occasionally appear at public events, Archie and Lilibet have largely been kept away from the spotlight. That decision has created an unusual situation. The public knows their names. The public follows every headline. But very little is actually known about their day-to-day lives. According to commentators, that gap between public interest and available information naturally fuels speculation and debate. Then another fascinating reality emerged. The conversation surrounding Archie and Lilibet has gradually become much bigger than the children themselves. Today, discussions about them often become discussions about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Their approach to privacy. Their decision to raise their family in California. Their relationship with the royal family. And the future of the Sussex family's place within the monarchy. That's why every new comment quickly becomes a global talking point. Then attention shifted toward public curiosity. Royal observers pointed out that every rare photograph, every birthday message, and every public mention of Archie or Lilibet immediately becomes international news. That level of interest is extraordinary. It shows just how closely millions of people continue following Harry and Meghan's story years after they stepped back from royal duties. Then another important observation surfaced. Many of the online discussions weren't actually about Angela Levin's specific comments. Instead, they focused on broader questions. Will Archie and Lilibet eventually spend more time in the United Kingdom? Will they develop closer relationships with members of the royal family? How will they view their royal heritage as they grow older? Those questions remain unanswered. And according to analysts, unanswered questions often create the biggest headlines. Then attention returned to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Supporters argue the couple has every right to protect their children's privacy and allow them to grow up away from constant media attention. Critics believe the family's unique position naturally attracts public interest. Those opposing viewpoints continue fueling debate across social media. Then another interesting pattern became impossible to ignore. The Sussex children have become symbols of the future. Not because of anything they have personally done, but because many people wonder what role, if any, they may choose to play in the years ahead. Will they embrace their royal heritage? Will they continue living private lives? Or will they carve out completely different paths? Nobody knows. And that's exactly why public fascination continues growing. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The strongest reaction to Angela Levin's remarks wasn't agreement or disagreement. It was curiosity. Curiosity about what happens next. Curiosity about the future of Harry and Meghan's family. Curiosity about the next chapter in one of the most closely followed royal stories of the modern era. According to royal commentators, that curiosity is precisely why discussions involving Archie and Lilibet continue generating millions of views every time they make headlines. As Angela Levin's comments continued generating reactions across social media, the conversation gradually shifted away from the remarks themselves and toward a much bigger question. What does the future hold for Archie and Lilibet? According to royal commentators, that's the question keeping millions of people invested in the Sussex story. Because despite years of headlines, documentaries, interviews, and public debate, nobody truly knows what role Harry and Meghan's children may choose to play in the future. That's what makes this story so fascinating. Then another important observation emerged. Many royal watchers believe Archie and Lilibet occupy one of the most unique positions in modern royal history. They were born into one of the world's most famous families. Yet they are growing up largely outside the traditional royal environment. That combination has created endless public curiosity. Some commentators believe the children will continue living private lives in California, away from official royal duties. Others think they may eventually take a greater interest in their royal heritage as they grow older. At this point, however, these remain opinions and predictions, not established facts. Then attention shifted toward the broader Sussex story. According to analysts, discussions involving Harry and Meghan have gradually evolved. Several years ago, most headlines focused on the couple themselves. Today, many conversations also include questions about their children, the family's future, and how the next generation might shape the Sussex legacy. That's why every public mention of Archie and Lilibet immediately attracts worldwide attention. Then another fascinating pattern appeared. The strongest reactions online weren't necessarily about Angela Levin's specific comments. Instead, they reflected how divided public opinion remains. Some viewers praised her for expressing her perspective. Others argued that conversations involving children should be handled with greater care and respect for their privacy. Those opposing viewpoints created another wave of discussion. Then attention returned to the royal family. Many observers continue wondering whether time could eventually improve relationships between different members of the family. Will future family milestones create opportunities for closer connections? Could the next generation influence how those relationships evolve? Nobody knows. According to royal analysts, those unanswered questions continue fueling public interest. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The fascination surrounding Archie and Lilibet isn't really about today's headlines. It's about tomorrow. Their future. Their choices. Their identities. And the role, if any, they may decide to play in the years ahead. Until those questions are answered, discussions about Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet are likely to remain among the most closely followed stories in royal news. As the debate surrounding Angela Levin's remarks continued to spread online, many royal commentators began focusing on a much bigger picture. According to analysts, the Sussex story may be entering an entirely new chapter. Not because of another interview. Not because of another documentary. But because time is changing the conversation. For years, the biggest headlines centered on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Their decision to step away from royal duties. Their interviews. Their business ventures. Their relationship with the royal family. But according to royal observers, the spotlight is slowly beginning to shift. Increasingly, discussions are turning toward the next generation. Toward Archie. Toward Lilibet. Toward the future. Then another fascinating observation emerged. Many commentators believe that history rarely judges families based on one dramatic moment. Instead, history looks at the bigger picture. How relationships evolve. How future generations grow. How public perceptions change over time. That's why many analysts believe the Sussex family's most important chapter may still lie ahead. Then attention shifted toward public interest itself. Despite remaining largely out of the public eye, Archie and Lilibet continue generating enormous curiosity. Every birthday message, every rare family photograph, every public mention instantly becomes international news. According to media experts, that level of attention is extraordinary. It demonstrates just how invested millions of people remain in the Sussex story. Then another important reality became clear. The online debate surrounding Angela Levin's comments quickly expanded beyond her remarks. People began discussing broader issues. The importance of privacy for children. The role of the media in covering the royal family. The balance between public curiosity and personal boundaries. Those conversations became just as significant as the original comments. Then attention returned to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Supporters argue the couple has consistently tried to protect their children's privacy while building a life outside the United Kingdom. Critics believe the family's high public profile naturally leads to continued media attention. Those opposing viewpoints continue fueling discussion across social media. Then another interesting pattern appeared. Many royal watchers now believe the Sussex story has become less about individual headlines and more about long-term legacy. How will Harry and Meghan be remembered? What impact will their decisions have on the next generation? How will Archie and Lilibet eventually define their own identities? Those questions remain unanswered. And according to analysts, unanswered questions continue driving public fascination. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The future, not the past, is what keeps millions of people watching. Because no one knows what the next chapter will look like. No one knows how family relationships may evolve. No one knows what choices Archie and Lilibet will make as adults. That uncertainty keeps the story alive. And according to royal commentators, that's exactly why discussions involving the Sussex family continue dominating headlines around the world. As discussions surrounding Angela Levin's remarks continued dominating royal headlines, many commentators began looking beyond today's controversy. Instead of focusing on one interview or one opinion, they started asking a much bigger question. What will the Sussex story look like 5, 10, or even 20 years from now? According to royal analysts, that's where the most interesting conversation begins. Because history has shown that royal narratives rarely remain the same forever. Relationships evolve. Public opinion changes. New generations emerge. And stories that once seemed impossible can take completely unexpected turns. That's why many observers believe the biggest Sussex chapter hasn't happened yet. Then attention shifted toward Archie and Lilibet. Although they remain largely outside the public spotlight, they continue attracting enormous worldwide interest. According to commentators, that isn't because of public appearances. It's because of possibility. People continue asking the same questions. Will they embrace their royal heritage? Will they continue living private lives in the United States? Will they one day choose to build relationships with members of the royal family? At this stage, nobody knows. And according to analysts, that uncertainty is exactly what keeps public curiosity alive. Then another important observation emerged. Many royal watchers believe time often softens conflicts that once appeared impossible to resolve. History contains many examples of strained family relationships eventually improving. Whether that happens in this case remains uncertain. But commentators agree on one thing. Predicting the future with certainty is impossible. Then attention returned to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Supporters believe the couple is focused on raising their family and pursuing independent projects outside the royal family. Critics continue questioning some of their public decisions. Yet despite those differences, both sides continue following every major development. That level of sustained interest is remarkable. Then another fascinating reality became impossible to ignore. The conversation surrounding the Sussex family has gradually become less about individual headlines and more about legacy. How will history remember Harry and Meghan? How will Archie and Lilibet define themselves as adults? Will future generations view this period differently than people do today? Those questions continue driving discussions around the world. Then another theory gained momentum among royal commentators. Some believe the next defining chapter of the Sussex story won't come from another interview or another media project. Instead, they believe it will come naturally with time. As Archie and Lilibet grow older, they will eventually make their own decisions. Their own friendships. Their own careers. Their own identities. Those choices, not today's online debates, could ultimately shape how the Sussex family's story is remembered. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. Today's headlines may dominate social media. But history usually tells a much longer story. It looks beyond controversy. Beyond internet debates. Beyond viral clips. It focuses on what people ultimately build, achieve, and leave behind. According to many royal observers, that's why patience matters. Because the Sussex story is still unfolding. The ending hasn't been written. And until it is, every new discussion, including Angela Levin's latest comments, will continue generating worldwide curiosity. As the online debate surrounding Angela Levin's latest comments gradually began to settle, many royal commentators arrived at one final conclusion. The biggest story isn't today's controversy. It's tomorrow's legacy. Because according to royal historians, headlines come and go. Social media debates rise and fall. Opinions change. But history usually tells a much longer story. That's why many observers believe it's still far too early to write the final chapter of the Sussex family. Then came another important realization. For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have remained among the most talked about public figures connected to the modern royal family. Their decision to step back from royal duties, their interviews, their documentaries, their charitable work, their business ventures. Every chapter has generated worldwide headlines. And according to analysts, every chapter has also shaped how the public views their journey. Then attention shifted toward Archie and Lilibet. Despite spending very little time in the public eye, they continue attracting extraordinary interest. Not because they seek attention, but because they represent the next generation of one of the world's most famous families. According to commentators, many of today's biggest questions revolve around the future rather than the past. What paths will Archie and Lilibet choose? How will they define their own identities? Will they embrace a private life? Or will they eventually take on more public roles? Nobody knows. And that's exactly why interest remains so strong. Then another fascinating observation emerged. The strongest reactions to Angela Levin's comments weren't necessarily about agreement or disagreement. Instead, they reflected just how invested people remain in the Sussex story. Supporters hope the family can continue building the life they want. Critics continue questioning past decisions. Others simply remain curious about what happens next. That combination keeps the conversation alive. Then attention returned to the royal family itself. According to royal analysts, families evolve. Relationships change. Circumstances change. History has shown that public narratives can shift dramatically over time. While no one can predict exactly what the future holds, many commentators agree that the next decade may reveal far more than today's headlines ever could. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. No commentator. No television interview. No viral social media clip can determine how history will ultimately remember Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet. Only time can do that. Because history isn't written in a single day. It's written over years. Through actions. Through choices. Through the legacy people leave behind. That's why millions continue following every new development. Not because they already know how the story ends, but because the ending hasn't been written yet. And according to many royal observers, that may be the biggest reason the Sussex family continues generating worldwide fascination. What do you think? Do you believe the Sussex family's story will look very different 10 years from now? Will Archie and Lilibet eventually shape how history remembers Harry and Meghan? Or do you think today's headlines will remain the defining chapter? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal family news, commentary, and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.